Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another very exciting video. Today, I just want to throw in my two bobs worth on the Resi 3 remake. I know everyone's thrown in their opinion in the ring on this game, but it's my turn. Now, I myself don't have much of a history with the Resident Evil franchise, but here we are in the day and age of remakes. It's so good to have these games in a third-person perspective without tank controls. I know what some diehard fans would say. The tank controls add to the difficulty, and to that I say, that's exactly why I avoid the game. It's difficult to pick up. And I personally can't stand those fixed camera angles. So here we are with Resident Evil 3, which is a really good game. I hear that there are some changes that they made from the original, but as I never played the originals, I have no issue with that. Apparently they omitted the clock tower, the park, and the water treatment plant, but that means nothing to me. Another thing that they omitted from the original game was the multiple endings. Now here is one thing that I think would have been awesome to have in this version of the game. Now, booting up this game.
This pandemic has spread faster than any disease in modern history.
Wow, that newsreel. That is art imitating life if I've ever seen it. So this game does start you off in the first person perspective. And the first thing it does is it wants you to look through a mirror. Now, the first thing I noticed was, wow, Jill Valentine. She is so beautiful. Now, just in case you're curious, the model to Google is Sasha Zotova. Something I loved about Resident Evil 3 is it feels very cinematic. Capcom, they did an amazing job with the character models in this game. They look really awesome. Everyone from Jill Valentine to Carlos, the bad guys look amazing. Even the Eastern European ones, whose names, unfortunately, I did not commit to memory. Even the way the characters in this game interacted, the chemistry just seemed bang on. And I particularly liked the chemistry between Carlos and Jill.
All right, Super Cop. Here you go. We can use this to stay in contact.
I know what a radio is.
I really bought into that friendship. I feel like the Resident Evil franchise does this best because I really care about their characters. Jill, Leon, Carlos, and there are more. They're just my favorites. Now, there have been a lot of comparisons with Nemesis and Mr. X. Mr. X I felt was a lot more intimidating. I'd be playing Resident Evil 2, I'd hear footsteps, and I'd be like, ah, man. But Nemesis, he just pops up and he chases you. But you can defeat him and pick up a case. Not that I knew this on my first playthrough. Resident Evil 3 was a lot more action-y than the previous installment. Having said that, I personally prefer a bit of action over the old way of doing things in the Resident Evil franchise. I know a lot of Resident Evil fans out there, they just like shitting themselves. That ain't exactly my cup of tea. Now, I feel like I should mention dodging in this game is a thing, and it works well enough for what it is. I saw some people out there saying that they can't quite get it right, but once you work it out, it's a pretty handy thing to learn. When all is said and done, the Resi 3 remake is a good game. It is, however, on the shorter end of things. Now, it personally took me around 5 hours and 40 minutes to beat this game, and normally I wouldn't have an issue with that. I normally work full time, and video games take up a lot of my spare time. And it does take me a lot of time to actually beat a really long game. Time that you don't really have when you're adulting. But the pandemic is a thing, and all of a sudden I have way too much spare time. So the time that it took to beat this game actually mattered to me for once. And unfortunately I want to get a bit more playtime out of this than 5 hours and 40 minutes. But I guess I can always replay it on a harder difficulty. But if you really like getting bang for your buck, I recommend waiting for a price drop. Anyways, that's all from me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.